Let's be honest, we've all been there. The teammates who don't communicate at all, and the ones who give the worst comms imaginable, leading to your death and the loss of the game. So in this video, I want to help them and help you improve your communication so that moving forward into 2021, we all communicate better, more efficiently, and get the right points across so that we could be more successful in our games moving forward. So first thing I want to do is tell you guys a little bit about myself and why I feel that I have the ability or authority to speak on the communication aspect. Communication is something that I have always felt that I was very good at. I also studied public relations and political science throughout college, where I graduated magna cum laude. And a lot of that is figuring out how to get the right message across the most efficient way to present the point that is most important to you, which I feel like is very important in the game. I've also achieved a high level of play across many titles, including getting FPLC, Global Elite, A+ on ESCA over in Counter-Strike. I hit a Mortar 3 and Valorant relatively quickly as a mostly solo queue before I quit that game. I've played up to the Masters level in Overwatch. I'm level 30 aka Rogue and Rogue Company before they made it easier to get it. And a lot of this is in part due to not only the mechanical skill or the game knowledge, but the communication aspect and how that helps to win rounds more often than you'd think. So I want to give you a little bit of background as to why I feel I can talk on this and what I think I can give you guys based on my experiences and my knowledge on the subject. So now let's actually get into the meat of the topic. So from my point of view, communication can impact you on a macro and a micro level. Macro, think full-on rotations, right? Micro, think the split-second decision you make during a gunfight, directly before a gunfight, or directly after a gunfight. How to use your utility, things like that. Those are more micro to me, whereas like your rotation and where you want to position yourself on the map are more macro, because that comes from almost a different form of communication within the game. It's less split-second, less this is the decision I'm making, I don't have too much time to think about it, versus a little more time to think about it, a little more thought to the layout of the land. So communication can impact either one of those aspects of the game. So that's going to take us into decision making and why communication is important to that. You can only do but so much decision making correctly within the game with no knowledge, right? At that point, it is more gambles. And yes, your own experiences and the information that you've achieved throughout the round or throughout the series, whatever, can certainly impact that and lead you to make good decisions. But communication impacts that in such a way that you improve the likelihood of success if you receive good information. Knowing that 2 players are in this area of the map and 2 players are in that area of the map lets you know exactly what areas of the map are open. You then, with your own experiences, knowledge of the game, know how long you have to get here or that they have to get there. It may tell you, okay, save that smoke, save that Molotov, save that grenade, because there's nobody within this realm, and that utility can be used later. Now we get into utility usage. Knowing where these players are lets you know when to use it. And that isn't just like, oh, okay, 2 people got called here, they got there, or things like that. But if your teammates have pushed aggressively on one side of the map and the time's ticking down and you still have a smoke and you see the time and you know that if you threw the smoke, they'd have to come through it if they wanted to be successful. This is based on the information of knowing where your teammates are at, that they convey to you. I'm pushed up deep B site. There's nobody here. Hold more passively, things like that. Now that transitions us into the play styles. Getting good communication impacts the way that you play the round, or it should. Same situation. If you know where certain players around the map are, or who they have left, or what utility they've already used, which is super duper important, then you know whether or not you can get aggressive. They can't use this. They can't be watching this due to what they have currently on the table, who they have on the table. This spot should be open. You get aggressive. Oh, they still haven't used the Fixer ultimate within Rogue Company. They still have smoke grenades. Well, then you don't want to put yourselves in a position to be picked off. You don't want to go into sniper lanes. You don't want to peek that smoke, even though you think it's cover, because of this information. This is very, very important, and things that help you improve your chances of winning the round, because it transitions into how you play the round if the effective communication comes in and you effectively use that, right? Because some of it is on you. Somebody can tell you all the information in the world, but if you don't compute it and kind of break it down into how that plays into the game, then it does no good for you, right? So we talked a decent amount now about how that information impacts how you're going to play against the enemy, but how about with your team? something that you don't see too often in like pickup games, matchmaking, things like that, where it's not super team based. You know, it's not the same people that you're playing with on a regular basis. It's you got random, solo queue, all that sort of thing, is spacing and double peeking or trade kills, which are incredibly important in games that are round based, where there's not respawn. So if you think like Counter-Strike, Valorant, Rogue Company, Search and Destroy, Call of Duty, the ability to get trade kills, knowing the spacing between you and your teammate, calling for your teammate, let's double peek this. I'm gonna molly that position. I'm gonna smoke off the left side. Let's push the right side. All of these things are the difference between rounds won and rounds lost. Because if you do those things effectively, if you communicate with your team, not only information about the enemy team, but also what you want to do, what you think your utility or your positioning can do for the round, letting them know, I'm going to push here, be prepared for this. I have this utility left. What can I do with it? How can I help you out? Making sure everybody knows what utilities left, what abilities are left, what plans you think are out there are very important, but you don't want to overshare. This also, that aspect of giving too much is kind of like when you get a kill or you end up eliminated in the round and you start saying a bunch of random stuff that has nothing to do with anything, and then you finally at the end of that statement go, oh, he was top mid, but at that point he's already pushed your teammate in a different position, and if you would have just said that first, it could have changed the round. So while I am stressing a lot of communication, share a lot of information with the teammates, I'm also saying share the important stuff, be efficient with it. Don't add your own things in, right? Say that into a dead mic, you know, like let that out if you need to let that out, that's fine, I understand that, but don't put that prioritized before the communication your teammates need to win that round. Always prioritize that first, and you will notice a difference, I promise. I'm going to give you guys an example that you should be able to relate to just show kind of like an attempt at communication that isn't great. Your teammate gets into a gunfight, your teammate is knocked down or eliminated and shouts, they're lit, right? They're one hit. We've all been there. We've all heard it. And then we swung the corner and that guy's not lit. A lot of the time they hit the guy, right? But he's like 50%, 45%. And we peek out just F1 race car around that corner thinking like this dude one bullet and we're good, and then we lose the fight because we maybe got a little too confident, maybe anticipated something different due to the communication. So with that in mind, always remember your teammates will use the information you share, which means the information you share, it needs to be as accurate as possible. Say he's tagged, he's 50%, he's half, things like that. He can heal. He's further back. He's still holding the angle. Don't push yet. Play the time. You know, these are all things that you can give instead of just he's lit, he's hurt. If he's not 10%, 15%, just say he's tagged. Say he's half, you know, because you almost want to overestimate the opponent rather than underestimate the opponent in most of these situations. So give the right information. Don't exaggerate the information, because that can lead to rounds lost and people angry about the calls that you gave. And then that breaks down the whole chemistry of the team. And we know how that goes. Another really big example I know we have all experienced is they're all here. They're rushing. The infamous they're all. Well, oddly enough, a lot of the time somebody says that, you get picked off on the rotation. Or as soon as you start to leave, the dude who is actually not there, because it wasn't all of them, shoots you in the back from what you were watching initially. That is why these calls are bad. Details, the numbers, who you see is also very important. Give a real example. A lot of the time, let's go with Rogue Company. If somebody has a Lancer, you need to know where that Lancer is. If somebody has a lurk character or a member of the opposing team that you notice lurks a lot, them communicating to you specifically that that character is there or is not there should influence how you play that round. Knowing 3 here, Lancer unknown, that is a good communication. You now know that Lancer could flank. You know now know that when you're rotating, you need to check your corners. You need to do a little more slowly, a little more methodically. You don't need to just gung-ho across the map, which you could do if you knew all 4 push sight, you got a decent amount of space, you can run a decent distance, swap to your gun, play it more appropriately, right? This all comes off those communications. Hearing they're all there is one of the worst calls you can get, because you don't know who they are and if all of them are there unless they have been spotted, right? So Don't be that guy. Don't shout all there. Say, I hear a few here, right? Because that's a different call. Some are coming towards B. You don't have the information yet. You don't know that it's 2 or 3. I hear footsteps, 2 or 3 players, because then whoever's rotating should rotate without checking angles, without taking a little bit slower, a little more methodically. And if they do, that's on them. That's not bad comms from you. You did what you were supposed to do. You didn't say all. You didn't say 4 if it's a 4-man team, 5 if it's a 5-man team, and catch them off guard. You gave them the information that you currently had. That doesn't mean you shouldn't seek a little bit more sometimes, depending on how the round is playing out, but you did your best. And then if they get picked off and they get upset, that's on them not taking and inputting that communication you gave into their gameplay. So you're in the clear. And I know I touched on this a little bit earlier about like if the fixer still has his ult and smokes and things like that, but communicating the utility and the ability usage of the opposing team is actually massively impactful to the game, because you know if they still have a Molotov, whether or not you need to tap the bomb early. You know if they still have smokes, the things they can do with those. You know if they still have the anvil shield, what they can do with that. If they still have their, whatever ability, whatever utility it is, you know the things that they can do with that, and you need to incorporate it. If those things are still in play and they can impact the game in this way, then you need to do your gameplay around that. You either got to drop the player real fast, you got to tap the bomb, you have to get aggressive, you have to play more passive. These are all things that if you know what the enemy team still has left in their arsenal, outside of just them being alive or eliminated from the round, then you can play the round differently. That is information that is important. You should pass that on to your teammates. I couldn't tell you how many times I have been playing in a round and I have called out, Fixer ultimate is active. He cracked his ult. He has vision. He smoked mid, things like that. And it has saved teammates that I see beelining to run across a position from going there. Or they do it anyway, and then I just go, hey man, I just told you that. Come on. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you've learned a thing or two, or at least gotten you to understand what good communication is, how you should communicate. Hopefully share it with your friends. If you know somebody who doesn't communicate too well, show them this video. If you want people to communicate in gaming better in 2021, share it, retweet it, do whatever you gotta do with this video. Let the world see it so somebody can watch it and go, man, I probably should tell my teammates stuff more. And then maybe that guy ends up on your team and you guys win. So take this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you did, let me know down in the comments what you think. If I missed something, again, let me know down in the comments. Would love to see you guys chat with me live as well. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/heartbreaker_TV almost every day at 6 p.m. Eastern time till around 11 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to see you guys there. But once again, thank you guys, and I will check you next time.